Once upon a time, in a quaint village surrounded by majestic mountains, a special baby named Leo was born under the glow of a magical star. On the night of his birth, the entire sky seemed to celebrate, with the magical star shining directly onto his crib. The villagers, sensing as Leo grew, his powers became more evident. At just a few months old, his laughter could make flowers bloom, and his tiny hands glowed with a gentle golden light. By the time he could crawl, he began to heal small injuries with a touch, bringing smiles to everyone around him. When he learned to walk, his glowing hands lit up the darkest corners of the village, turning fear into joy and safety. The villagers cherished him deeply, treating him as both. One fateful afternoon, the peaceful village was threatened by a monstrous storm. Dark clouds loomed, and fierce winds began to tear through the trees. The rivers swelled, threatening to flood the homes. Leo, now a brave toddler, stepped forward with determination. "I will help," he said with his small but confident voice. As he raised his glowing hands to the sky, the storm began to calm. Word of Leo's powers spread far and wide. Travelers came from distant lands to see the miraculous boy. Leo brought light to lost travelers, healed the wounded, and helped farmers grow crops during dry seasons. But what truly made him special was his kindness. He used his powers to bring joy to children, comfort to the lonely, and hope to all who needed it. His adventures began. Years later, under the shade of a grand old tree, grandfather sat surrounded by a group of wide-eyed children. "And that, my dear ones," he concluded with a twinkle in his eye, "is how little Leo." In a peaceful village nestled between rolling green hills, a peculiar event took place one starry night. A bright comet streaked across the sky, and as it passed, a baby mysteriously appeared in a glowing basket on the village elder's doorstep. The elder, a kind woman named Mira, took the baby in and named her Lyra, after the constellation she seemed to have come from. From the very first moment, Lyra's presence brought a special energy to the village. Her laughter caused the stars to twinkle brighter, and her tiny fingers could draw constellations in the air. As Lyra grew, so did her connection to the sky. By the time she was 5, she discovered she could float off the ground. One sunny day, as she chased a butterfly, Lyra found herself rising higher and higher until she was above the treetops. The villagers gasped, and Mira smiled knowingly. "You're meant for great things, little one," she said. Lyra practiced her floating every day, eventually learning how to soar and glide like a bird. She loved to paint pictures in the clouds, much to the delight of the village children who would point and cheer. One day, a terrible dark cloud loomed over the village, casting shadows and causing storms. The crops began to wither, and the villagers grew worried. Mira knew this was no ordinary cloud. It had been sent by the sky sorcerer, a powerful figure who wanted to claim Lyra's magical abilities for himself. "You must be brave, Lyra," Mira told her. "The only way to save the village is to rise above the storm." With her glowing basket as her guide, Lyra flew into the heart of the storm. She confronted the sky sorcerer, a figure shrouded in swirling mist and lightning. "This is my home, and you will not take it from me," Lyra declared. Using her gift of drawing constellations, she created a radiant star map that lit up the stormy skies. The sorcerer, blinded by the light, retreated into the heavens, and the dark cloud disappeared. The village celebrated Lyra's bravery with a grand feast. From that day on, Lyra became known as the Sky Child, a protector of the village and a symbol of hope. She used her powers to help the villagers in countless ways, from guiding lost travelers with her glowing constellations to bringing gentle rain for their crops. Years later, Mira told Lyra's story to wide-eyed children under the same starry skies that had brought her to them. "Remember," Mira said, "even the smallest stars can shine the brightest."